Hello, welcome to the 9th day of October 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a daily video live exercise that I do to remember my life objectives and principles. Those words are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can find and read for free at goingalone.org. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any noteworthy challenges or opportunities that I met. I reflect on my greed, my objectives and principles, and a plan for the coming day. But before I do any of that, I want to say welcome to new subscribers to the channel. It's good to have you here, and let you know that this is a private journal. It is a private journal, but I open the doors publicly. What that means by calling it a private public journal is that this is where I can share anything I want, just like you can share anything with your most private diary. If it was just a public diary, then I would be more cautious about things. Well, that's true, I am a little bit, but there's some things that I hesitate to talk about, including today. There's one thing I won't say too much about, but I will allude to them. You get the idea, right? So what I'm doing is I'm giving you this is the disclaimer part of the video, where I tell you about the things that you should know as a viewer. Like, for example, I can talk about anything that I want. I'm likely to talk all about myself. I'll be just as apt to criticize myself as I will be to compliment myself when I do look good, because the main purpose of this is to review the last 24 hours, to see if the last 24 hours, the last day, was a well-lived day. And if it was, well, what was it about those well-lived hours that I can note and do more of? And if it wasn't, then what did I do poorly that I could maybe do better? You get the idea. I do talk about death every day, so if that's a sensitive subject, you've been warned. And finally, a huge and gigantic thank you to my YouTube members, my Patreon supporters, and those who watch my videos. No kidding, your support fuels my activities outside of this room. Okay, with that, let's get started. I hope the audio is better today. I decided to, since I've moved indoors and I'm now sitting close to the camera, I think I don't need the wireless mic. So people were telling me that the audio wasn't very good. So I've decided to just go with the iPhone mic. Hopefully I'm speaking loud enough and you can hear me clearly. Let me know if it's still a problem, please, because I would like to tune it and get it right. Okay, for now, let's move forward. I'm going to look at my notes for the last 24 hours. I have just two things to note. One says an extraordinary good feeling, and the second says situation. So let's talk about each of those. First, extraordinary good feeling. What that simply means is that for a large part of the day yesterday, before lunch namely, I felt extraordinarily good, as the note says. It's just incredible. Do I need to say anything more? It was just extraordinarily feeling good, and I think I know what it was. The day prior, I had taken Rudy out on a long push on the dog stroller, for half a day. It was hot, but not too hot, but we had a good day, and by the end of the day, I thought I had overdone it. But I think that it really did me good, and the next day, I felt vital and strong, and I hadn't soiled myself with any bad eating in the last, as I rarely do anymore. And I just was reaping the consequences of that. Now, when it came lunchtime yesterday, and when I went to Tanginia and pick out our lunch, I knew that good feeling was going to come to an end, because I would probably pick out something that would be a little bit high in carbs, rice, and just the balance. It's like, just when, kind of like the day when you have to go back to work, right? And it's like, well, this good feeling is going to come to an end, but you have to go back to work, right? I have to eat, so my options were limited. And Tanginia food is good food, but still. So that was interesting to note. So that bodes well for my interest in spending more time out with my dog, walking around, especially now as the days are becoming cooler. Maybe I'll even do some of that today. The second item to note here is just simply says situation. I have this situation that I will not share details about because it involves someone in my life, and it's their privacy and it's their situation. But I want to find a way to be helpful in that situation, and I'm not going to share details. This is one of those times that I'm not going to share with you my efforts because it's all in the service of somebody else. But I will share with you that I'm struggling with this situation, struggling to find my way forward through it, and that's enough to say. I'm doing pretty well, but it's hard. Leave it at that. Okay, so I've talked about those two. Now on to my creed. My creed consists of 8 objectives as follows. Number 1, and you can read these in my book, Going Alone. Number 1 is to be always ready to die, to have my affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in a steady, complete state, so that if I die, I don't leave any unfinished work or unspoken words, so to speak, to the best of my ability, or uncompleted purpose, unfulfilled purpose, unmet purpose. 2 is my second objective is to make good and effective use of my days, to not waste my life. 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, which is exactly what I'm doing now, working on my creed. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, so I respond well when things are tough and when things are good. Number 5 is to perform good actions relative to my values. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and true opportunities, which is, I'll fold that back in. That's this situation, I'm using a lot of objective number 6 there to recognize where my limits stand, and where my opportunities stand to be helpful. Number 7 is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number 8 is to work to maintain my balance. I'm going to read from the Creed, the Principle of Purpose, now from the book. Again, you can read this at goingalone.org. Just click on the link in the middle of the page that says read the book, and then find the chapter titled The Good Life. And the Principle of Purpose. It's on page 255 of the hardbound edition. The Principle of Purpose, the sub-principles, biology with a capital B, duty, virtue, and mission. Biology with a capital B because I'm not talking about the science of biology. I'm talking about biology as though it were an apparatus, an entity of its own, this whole biological structure, and it is an entity of its own. In fact, it may be the only entity. In fact, all of those that make up part of it, all of us that are units within this biological apparatus. Biology does seem to deliver to us a mandated purpose, which is to survive and, if possible, get our genes successfully into the next generation. That's why I include it with purpose. It may be the only true objective purpose that I can apprehend. Duty, which is something we have on board, or is onboarded for us. Virtue, contrived purpose. And mission, a decided purpose. And here's a quote from Dr. Zimmerman. Active in indolence, abroad who roam, in quest of happiness, which dwells at home, with vain pursuits, fatigued at length will find it's hard to read, it's dark, in real dwellings. In real dwelling, its real dwelling is a virtuous mind. Well put, Dr. Zimmerman. Virtue itself, the purpose, the pursuit of virtue, the achievement of virtue is the principal, paramount purpose in my book, other than being a father and bring my daughter to adulthood. Let's read the Principle of Purpose. My first purpose is to live and reproduce, before then dying and getting the hell out of the way. I will also perform my duty, 30 years of life dedicated to improved societal ends. Okay, I did 40. As well as 25 years of service to my kid, which work is largely complete when she is done with school. Done with that too. Beyond that, it's up to each of us to decide what our own personal purpose will be. For myself, I select the pursuit of virtue, where virtue is defined as a life lived in furtherance of the well-being of thinking things. And my mission is the series of goals I set for myself to achieve over the successive years of my life. So my purpose then was the raising of my daughter to successful adulthood, which is done, and the pursuit of virtue, which is something I do on an active basis every day. So it's easy for me to, well, I guess in writing Going Alone was a part of that as well. It's easy then for me to be ready for death because my purpose is complete. Everything I do now is just tinkering at this point. Okay, the next 24 hours, well, you know, here's my copy of Going Alone, and here's a reader's copy of Going Alone that they sent me to sign and illustrate. And I've been putting that off for a couple of weeks, waiting for a good opportune moment when I would have a good, you know, my mental state is there, and I think I'm there, you know. So I think I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on that today. I put this new blackboard up there on my wall. Can you see it up there? And it's got, I've listed out the day's objectives. Tim might find that interesting. I know it's a little hard to read in the darkness there, but it's an old antique blackboard that I bought. And it says 3 things. Cancel my QuickBooks subscription because I don't need that anymore. I don't have my business. I need to refine the principle of nature a little bit with the AI chatbot that I'm using to help extract out principles from my social media posts. And then I'm going to, I have a softypapa community that has been created on YouTube. I didn't know that. I want to look at that. And then I need to buy an eraser so I can erase that from the board and be prepared for tomorrow. And with that, let's go ahead and read comments. I hope the audio is coming through good. And there are no comments. All right. Well, I wish everybody all the best. Thanks for joining me today. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. Are there really no comments? Just double check that I'm not missing something. I have a feeling I might have done something wrong, although I don't know what it is. I'll look back and see if I can read, if I can see this. You know what I can do? Hold on. Let's grab this phone real quick, pop in here, see if I can hear myself, and see if the comments function is working. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Audio is great. There's no comments function. What's up with that? Test, test, test. Audio is great. There's no comments function. What's up with that? And what's all that hissing sound? I think it's the wind. There's a strong wind blowing. Audio is great. Let's close this curtain. There's no comments function. Oh, that's all. And what's all that? That's feedback, I guess. Okay, let's see. What is up with the comments? You know what I think I did? I must have, I knew that when I was setting things up, I kind of set things up. I was racing through it. I was running late. And maybe there's a switch that allows us to turn comments off on these videos. I'll bet that's what I did. I must have hit that switch. I apologize, everybody. I think I turned the comments off on today's video. Thank you for showing up. I will look into that, and I will make sure I don't do that again. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe, everybody. Bye-bye. I apologize for that. Take care.